Yeah, so in this video I'm just going to go over how to take, I guess, your helium mining outside. So this is my current setup. This is like I think it's a 7.5 dBi antenna, and it came with this bracket, but I've just sort of like bolted it with a clamp to my desk. And I mean, I've been receiving lots and lots witnesses, getting a lot more witnesses and increasing my helium earnings. But I do want to take it up on the roof and put, the antenna. Oh, the exposure's freaking out. Put the antenna up on our TV sort of aerial up there on the roof. So the way to do it is you're gonna have to put your sense cap in a box that can go outside. So this is a waterproof box I got from an electrical store. The other thing that you'll need if you are running like an old sense cap is, I'll just take out the miner. So this is just like the size of this enclosure. I think this cost me like $120 or something. Like, you can probably get these way cheaper, but I'll just focus the camera. So that's the dimensions. I think it's 170 wide. So these sense cap miners, they're not too big. Another thing, when you get these enclosures, make sure you get like some of these they're like sort of waterproof cable sort of lugs. I'm not sure actually what they're called, but like this one here, it will fit through. It's kind of hard doing this with one hand. It will fit through like the waterproof seal, and then all I'm gonna have to do is drill. I'll probably do it on the side, right where the the antenna is gonna connect into the box. So I need to get some type of bracket inside the box to hold the miner, and then that is going to go just on the side. Well, we'll go that way. So I need to drill a hole that will line up with the antenna thread, and then feed the cable in probably through the side, and then the cable will run up to the aerial that's going to be outdoors. The way to power your sense cap, so your sense cap, it runs on like a 5 volt 3 amp USB-C cable. And what this is here, you can find these online. Hold on, I'm just gonna focus the camera. You can find these online. What they are is they're a PoE 5 volt splitter, right? And I think this one is rated for, I think it's 1.5 amps, or it might be 4 or 5 amps, but you'll find them online because they actually work for the sense caps. Just make sure you get one that's recommended for helium mining. There's plenty of them out. I think they just come from China. And what it does is it takes, so this box here, this is a 40 meter Cat 6, 40 meter Cat 6 UTP LAN cable. So I can actually run through this. I can run PoE, and then it's going to connect into this port here, which is also a PoE splitter, and that's going to power the miner, and then that's going to be my data entry for for the miner. So I'll have a hole off the box, and this is a 40 meter cable, and the last thing you need is one of these bad boys here. So this converts so this plugs into the wall. This will be down like where this cable is going to be plugging into this. So this converts straight off your modem point. If you can see, that's the power. There's two connections. So the first one's your internet LAN off your modem, and then this is your PoE out, which this cable will connect into that, and then the other end of this cable will connect into this, and then that connects into the wall. And what it does is it puts some power into the cable, and then into this, and then into the miner, which will power the miner all off this one cable. All you got to do is make sure you get a 48 volt rated PoE injector. just bear in mind it has to be 40, like a 48 volt model. If you get, I think there's like 12 volt ones or like lower voltage ones. Just bear in mind if you are running like a 40 meter cable like this, there may not be enough volts to actually power your miner. So make sure you get a 48. You know, they're only like $30. Get a 48 volt rated PoE injector. So yeah, the last thing that I also did is I was thinking, so everyone has the dilemma of like, if you put these in a sealed box, see if I can get the exposure up a bit. If you put these in a sealed box, the problem is that the SenseCap, because they're a little computer, they actually have a fan. You can see, I don't know, you see the holes on the bottom and the holes on the side. They actually have a little fan because these are a Raspberry Pi. So over time, if it's a really hot day, especially with not enough room really in this box, over time this can actually start to overheat the CPU. So all you got to do is make sure that you have some type of ventilation. You don't need to add an external fan into the box or anything like that, because remember there actually already is a fan inside this that will circulate air. All you need is just a few holes in the box that is going to allow fresh airflow. And I would recommend, if the box is sitting, you know, vertically up like this, that instead of just putting some holes in the bottom, which would probably be fine, you probably put some holes, you know, like up on the side, to allow that hot air to escape, because the hot air will rise. And what I did is I 3D printed this sort of waterproof sort of grill plate. It's, you know, like probably cost me 20 cents to print, and that is going to sit probably just here on the side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to silicone and glue that flashing on there so that water can't come down the side. It's going to drip off and water can't come up. And then I'll put like 3 or 4 holes just here, just for a bit of airflow. So I've got a little bit of work to do, and I'm going to probably not film the build, because like I need a, well, I probably will film the build like when I do it, make an extension video on that. And then I'll also do a video on the installation up on the roof, and then I'll also go over how it affected my mining returns and if I managed to get more witnesses. And I think, you know, taking this higher up, you know, putting it up on the roof, that's going to be another, you know, probably I'd say 5 meters higher than where we are now. That probably will get more witnesses. So yeah, good things to come. Yo, so a little update. What I did is I cut, you can't really see this, let me just focus in. I cut the waterproof, I guess, flashing in half, and it sort of just turned around at the different parts, and then that way I could feed it over the cable, because you can't actually fit the Ethernet cable over that. And then I'm just going to epoxy it all together once it's sealed in the box. And then for the inside of the box, I 3D printed this like this plate sort of bracket, because on the back of the SenseCap miner there's these 3 holes, and like this plate, I'll show you how this plate's going to sit. This plate's going to go like that, and then those 2 holes there are going to screw into these nuts, like the M3 nuts here and here. So I think it was these bolts I found out actually fit. They fit in there like that. So the idea will be that I will bolt this to the bottom of the SenseCap, and then with the holes, that's going to sit inside the box like that. I'm going to have to bore one more hole straight here, because the SenseCap is going to sit sort of like this in the box. It's going to sit like that, and then this one actually fits straight over the aerial cable, so that one's going to be you know, like sticking out for the aerial cable. And yeah, I've still got to do my 3 holes, and
I'm going to be mixing up some epoxy tomorrow for the little rain guard flashing for the ventilation. So
I've got the bracket screwed onto the sense cap, and I've put the hole for the antenna in. So this is the antenna cable that's running back to the aerial. The DBI antenna, so that comes into there like that, and I'll be able to use like some packing and then screw that down nice and tight to get a good seal. So let's assemble this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fully now assemble the miner. So, and then I'm going to let it mine for a bit. This is the 40-meter cable, so that's going to run up the side of the house and then back into the house. But this is all going up on the roof. And take this off. The nice thing about this box is it has also a padlock, so I can lock it, and it's like I can open it. So if I ever need to take something out, like it's real easy to get access to the enclosure. So plug in the splitter, and I'm probably just going to use like some double-sided tape to hold that down. I also might pack some of this with some like foam packing, just so nothing rattles around in wind or in storms and that type of stuff. Okay, so a quick look at this. Like I was saying, this is just going to probably get double-sided taped to the sense cap, or I could just let it sit in there. It's not too much of a big deal. I had to cut these clamps, so they're also going to they will screw together, but it will get epoxied for a seal. I also need to do a bit of packings because the diameter of this antenna is slightly too big. So I'll pack that in just for a tight seal. You screw that down and it seals it. So the last thing I need to do now, which is the other side of this PoE, is bang that into, I believe it is the red PoE out, into that. So that's my standard internet cable, and that's gonna go into the other side, just like that, into the LAN outlook, and then I just need to power this. So
I'm hoping that if all goes well, I should be able to get some mining rewards in the next couple of hours. So I believe as soon as I power this up, it should be good to go. What I will do is I will just disconnect for now the PoE because I don't want to jolt any power. Let this thing heat up. Okay. And my data cable's broken, but shouldn't be a problem. I should say LAN cable. Anyway, so now 40 meter bad boy is going to get plugged straight in, and it should power my miner. Okay, so that's in. We've got a power light. I'm not sure if there's any data coming through yet, but if all is well, the sense cap should hopefully boot up and give me some mining. Oh, the light might be changing. Let's give this a reset. Oh, looks like we've got action. As you can see, the miner is booting up. Cool, so that is the outdoor enclosure setup. I guess stage 1 of this complete. I'm gonna make another video. All of these videos will go into this one video on just how to set up the miner. So I still have to create my my 3 holes. I'll probably chuck it like somewhere there for the flashing for the airflow grill. But I'm gonna mix up some epoxy. I'm going to mix up some epoxy for this fan. It's just like a shroud, and then the epoxy will go around the outside, and I also chuck some silicone for the waterproofing. And then that way, when this box gets, I guess, bracketed on the back to the pole that I'm bracketing this onto, then I can have a bit of airflow, and I can take this mining setup outside. So I'm just going to monitor over the next sort of, I guess, day or a few hours and see if it actually is all working the way it should be working. I'm pretty confident that because I've got a power light and it seems to all be running, that it should be sweet. And with the 40 meter extension, I can pretty much move this quite high up if I want. But yeah, this is just a video on I guess how to set up an outdoor helium miner. Yo, so this is just the final update of where I've got the miner. So first of all, this is now finished. It's ready to be deployed. I'm just going to go over the few things I did. I've drilled a bunch of like little breather holes, and then one hole here. These are going to act as like a drain hole, because this is going to get mounted to the pole like that, so vertically. And if any water ever does manage to make its way into the box, I did want to have a couple of like pilot holes at the bottom, just to allow water to drain out with gravity, just as a backup, because I never wanted this box to fill up with water, because if it didn't have any holes here and there was a breach, my miner would get damaged with water damage. So it's important to have just some drainage holes. There's water retention that might be able to go up inside here, but I mean, if it collects, it's only going to have gravity pull it back down. So there is a cavity in the box, so it should be fine. And there's also another valve up here that I will talk about. But what I did is I siliconed on these aluminium rails, because I didn't want to buy like a pole bracket, because the pole brackets were like actually quite expensive. So I just made my own. I took 70mm bolts, and as you tighten these down,
that will push this closed and tighten it. And then my TV antenna aerial that this box is getting mounted to, this is about 40mm wide, so it should fit on there quite nicely. So all I have to do is, you know, take this off, mount it, and then put that on, and then clamp it down and tighten these up, and it will clamp on nice and solidly. And there's literally the same on the bottom. I used a different bolt for that one because I didn't have two of the same. But you can see here, it's just, you know, like the little pilot holes. I just had to measure them, and then drill that one into the box. I glued it as well, and then this one will, you know, slide when it will slide onto the rail. So that's how I sorted out the bracket. I've also siliconed on now the Ethernet PoE cable, and then I also siliconed on the flashing, the air breathe flashing. So this is all silicon. I will probably put way too much on, but I just don't want any water to get in there. And then also the silicon is holding that on. So if I open up the enclosure, I now have the miner fully secured and bolted in. I've got the PoE, you know, connector, double-sided sticky tape to the miner, and I've also, on the other side of the miner, I've also used double-sided tape to also just keep, you know, hold it to the case. If there is any fluttering movement, it's not going to get banged around. And then that's bolted. So literally the last thing to do now is to take, you know, the antenna cable. So that is going to connect into the miner. I'm just going to wind that on. I'll just put the camera up here. Okay, so that is now connected. The antenna is now connected. I will put to help seal this, just like a little bit of electrical tape, just to help thicken it up, just so it clamps down really nicely around the tape to stop water from getting in. So that winds on to the plug, and it creates a really tight seal. So yeah, I'd say the last step now is to actually plug this back in. So the other side of this goes, you know, into my PoE, and this will be going down the side of my house. So I'll just plug this in. Just give me 1 second. Upside down. Sweet. Sweet, so that now is plugged in. We have power, and the last thing to do now is to power on the miner. Sweet, so we now have power to the miner. It's just going to boot up. The Raspberry Pi is booting up. Here we go, you can hear it booting up now. Sweet, so this miner's been fully synced. So it's pretty much just going to go exactly where I left it off. So I'm going to close the box. And this is now fully waterproofed and ready to be deployed. It's going to be bracketed onto the pole mount as such. And that's exactly where I'm going to end the video. I'm going to do a part 2 of this video probably this weekend, because it's actually night outside and I'm not going to get up on my roof in the dark and fully bracket this to the aerial, and I'll sort of do another part 2 video of the actual deployment just so you can see how that goes and how it's looking. The one problem I've got at the moment is that this aerial antenna cable is a bit too long. It's going to be a little bit dangly because the pole actually only extends probably about 1 meter out, so I probably could have got a slightly shorter antenna cable, and I do get a bit of dBi loss. So I mean, I could always revert back to like a smaller cable, or I could even get a longer pole, but I'm also concerned about going too high due to like wind and whatnot, but maybe in the future I will get this at the full, you know, cable extension, because this is a 5 meter cable, and I might be able to actually get another 5 meters higher and get more rewards. So yeah, I'm gonna leave the video here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, you know, like my sort of walkthrough on this enclosure. My biggest tip would just be, you know, get a 48 voltage PoE adapter, and make sure you get like a nice long, good high quality internet cable, because remember this is going to be outside, and make sure that it's PoE suited. And all you got to do is just get a box, and don't be, you know, afraid to get the drill out, some silicon out, and just, you know, attack it, and, you know, chuck screws in it and do what you got to do, because all you got to do is you just got to do it, really. And yeah, I hope this is helpful for anyone that is wanting to take their helium mining outdoors. Please like and subscribe.